Yes.
Reporting. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Community Education Council for District 25's annual meeting, to be followed by our calendar meeting, to be followed by our business meeting. So those of you who are here, the CEC members, you should have a folder that has the script for our elections. It has the hybrid meeting update. You should have the bylaws in there, the agenda for this evening, and a few other notes. So for those that are home, I believe Carly's going to put it on the screen, right?
It's here.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to start the meeting. It is now 7:09, and this meeting of Community Education Council number 25 will come to order. My name is Joseph D. Benedetto, and I am convening the annual meeting for the purposes of electing officers. The council's bylaws require that officers be elected by roll call vote at the annual meeting. To be elected, a candidate must have at least 6 votes. Officers remain in position until their successors have been elected. The first order of business is to elect a chair pro tem to chair the election meeting until the president has been elected. The chair pro tem must be someone who is not running for president. Once the president is elected, the president can take over chairing the election meeting if the chair pro tem wants to run for office. If the council fails to elect a president on the first round, the chair pro tem may step aside for the election of other officer positions he or she is interested in running for. We will vote on other offices after that of president. If no candidate receives at least 6 votes for a position, we will vote on whether to do a second or third round of voting. Are there any nominations for chair pro tem? So you understand what chair pro tem is, right? You have no intention of running for president. You can nominate yourself if you want, yes. Okay, so nomination, okay. Are there any other nominations for chair pro tem? So Wing Yu has nominated herself to act as chair pro tem. Okay. Before we move on, we have to take elections. And we have to make sure we have a quorum present. So we have to do the roll call. My apologies. I will call the roll call, right? Joseph D. Benedetto, present. Wing Yu. Anne Marie Knable. Joseph Chow.
I'm already in it.
Can you forward him the link?
But he can go to the website, it's there.
Sana Tayeb.
Present.
Sung Young Lee.
Present.
Michelle Frederick.
Present.
See anybody?
Rushing.
Rashmi Krishnaraj.
Present.
Rashmi's present.
Yes.
Okay. So we have a quorum, which means we have more than 6 members present. And do you want to send Joseph Chow a message if he wants to come on? Can you send him the link? Does he have the link, Carly?
I'm gonna try to send it from my phone.
My apologies, I can't see who's on from the screen, so
Everyone's on but him.
gotcha.
Carly, do you also have a phone number for this link?
No, it's just,
There's no phone number for these meetings?
I wouldn't, it's online. I can't really stop unless I go to the other computer, unless you want me to do that now.
No, I mean, it's up to you. You
I
don't
don't have
have
the info
to.
in front of me for the link right at the moment. That's why I sent it earlier.
No, I understand that, but I may not be able to join because I'm at work, so I can't be on two computers. So that's fine. I will not, I mean, I won't be able to join after online, but I can do it on the phone. But it's okay. You don't make yourself go crazy on that. That's fine. I mean, it is what it is. I should have said that earlier. I didn't.
How long are you here for, Rushley?
Huh?
How long will you be on?
I'll be on it for, I can be on it for 15 minutes.
Okay, so we'll
online,
try to
but-
get through the elections.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. All right, so we do have a quorum. We're going to move forward. And I have Wing Yu as the nomination for Chair Pro Tem. Are there any other nominations? Okay, now we have to go through the roll call for the election of Chair Pro Tem. Even if we have one nomination. Okay, so Joseph Di Benedetto, I say yes. Anne Marie Knable.
Yes.
Wing Yu.
Yes.
Sana Tayeb.
yes.
Sung Young Lee.
Yes.
Michelle Frederick.
Yes.
And Rushley Krishnaraj.
Yes. How many
Okay.
we have? We have 7 or 6 people.
We have 7 present, we need 6. And we have unanimous that Wing Yu is congratulations, Wing Yu has been elected to serve as Chair Pro Tem and will conduct the election of officers for 2022, 2023. Now you're going to take over.
Okay, Joe, if for any reason, because if I get calls from work, I may have to just log off, then we won't have the quorum. So let's just try to get Joseph Chow.
We still have quorum because we're 7.
No, but she vote?
She can vote, yes.
Oh, she can vote, but she can't run. Okay, that's fine.
Running for
Okay,
Position of president.
okay, makes sense. Okay, then I should not feel that guilty. Okay, good.
Thank you, Rushley.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. To elect officers, we will vote upon each position before moving on to the next, so that any candidate not elected to an office can run for others. I will take nominations. Members can nominate themselves. If a member is nominated by another member, I will confirm that he or she accepts the nomination. If a member is not present but has submitted his or her nomination in writing to the administrative assistant or another member, he or she will be treated the same as any member who is present, including having a 2-minute statement read aloud by someone else. Each nominee will be allowed to make a speech of up to 2 minutes. Following the candidates' presentations, we will conduct a roll call vote. All positions must be voted on even if there is only one candidate. Where there are 2 or more candidates, each member must make a choice and vote for one or the other. Members may abstain from voting. If no candidate receives at least 6 votes, we will move on to the next position and return to undecided positions at the end. If a position remains unfilled over 2 or more rounds of voting, the incumbent will continue in the position. New elections for all unfilled positions must be put on the agenda of the following month's calendar meeting. Is the procedure clear to all the members?
Yes.
Okay, first we will elect the council president. Are there any nominations for the office of president? Okay, we have Emery nominating Joseph Di Benedetto for president. Do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I accept the nomination. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations?
I also nominate Joseph D. Benedetto.
Michelle, right?
Yes, that's me.
Thank you, Michelle.
So
Or you guys together.
if there are no other nominations, I will close the nomination and we will take a roll call vote. Nominations for the office of president are now closed. I will now call each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement. Or do you still need to make a statement?
I don't think so, but you should check the chat. Is there, are there nominations in the chat?
No.
Okay. I don't believe I need to make a statement.
Okay. So
I don't think so. You want to ask Juliana?
Juliana,
She's on.
Mhm.
She's on this post.
Yeah. Yes. Juliana, you here?
okay. Okay. So, yeah. Joseph D. Benedetto,
Yes.
Anne Marie Knable.
Yes.
Joseph Child's not here. Wayne Yu, yes. Sana Tayeb,
Yes, and Joseph Chow is here. Actually, he just mentioned in the chat as well.
Mr. Chow,
He's here. 1, 2. Okay, I'll unmute him. Thank you.
Sung Young Lee,
Definitely yes.
Michelle Frederick,
Yes.
Rashmi Krishnan,
Rashmi?
Rashmi,
I believe Rashmi is logged off.
No, she's still here.
Oh, is she?
But she's able to mute herself.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I just was able to, hello, everybody. I was just
Hi.
able to unmute myself. I couldn't unmute myself a minute ago.
we're taking a roll call vote.
I heard everything, but I couldn't, I was going to nominate Wendy Yu for president as well.
I'm not,
But,
I'm not the president. Mr. Chow. So is that a yes or no?
My vote for, well, unless I can, well, I guess no for now. But I don't know if that makes any sense. You closed the nomination before that I was able to unmute myself. And if we cannot go back, then the vote is yes.
We cannot go back. All right, so we cannot go back. Is the nomination for council president is closed. So is your answer now yes or no, Mr. Chow?
Yes.
Okay. And Rashmi,
She might have the same issue.
Rashmi's unmuted.
well, we have 7 votes yes, and Rashmi is the only one who we did not get an answer from. So congratulations, Joseph De Benedetto, you have been elected to serve as council president for 2022, 2023. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Moving forward. No.
I'll take over. You did a great job with it.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. Now we are going to take nominations for the office of First Vice President. The office of the First Vice President means that the Vice President shall exercise the powers and perform the duties of the President in his or her absence. The Vice President shall also discharge such functions as may be assigned to her or him by the President or by resolution adopted at any meeting at which a quorum is present. Are there any nominations for the office of First Vice President? Anne Marie nominates Wendy. Wendy, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I accept.
Okay.
Thank you, Emery.
Are there any other nominations for that of First Vice President?
I nominate Anne Marie Knable.
Anne Marie Knable, do you accept?
I'm going to respectfully decline, but I appreciate that, but I'm going to respectfully decline. Thank you so much, though.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for that of First Vice President? Okay. I lost my place here. Nominations for the office of Vice President are now closed. Can you check the chat, Carly? Just want to make sure no one's.
Nobody.
Okay, I will now call each candidate. There's no need to make a statement because you're the only nomination for Vice President. I will go through the roll call for the vote. And I have my attendance. Joseph Di Benedetto, yes. Anne Marie Knable.
Yes.
Joseph Chow.
Yes.
Wing Yu.
Yes.
Sana Tayeb.
Yes.
Sung Young Lee.
Yes.
Michelle Frederick.
Yes.
Rashmi Krishnaraj.
Rashmi
Yes.
says she has. Rashmi, can you hear?
I can hear now. I don't know what had happened. I was not able to unmute, but I see that somebody gave the meeting ID, so that's perfect. I'm going to probably join by phone if I can do it online. Thank you, Sana.
I emailed it to you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carly. You're the best.
Okay, so basically we have a unanimous vote. Congratulations, Wing Yu. You have been elected to serve as the council's first vice president.
Thank you.
Very well, thank you. Next, we will take nominations. We will elect the second vice president. The role of second vice president shall act for the president in the absence of the president and the first vice president. The second vice president shall also discharge such functions as may be assigned to her or him by the president or by resolution duly adopted at any meeting at which a quorum is present. Are there any nominations for the position of second vice president?
I would like to nominate Anne Marie.
So Shirley nominated Anne Marie Knable, as
Yes.
did Wing Yu. So we have Anne Marie Knable as nomination, as being nominated for the position of second vice president. Are there any other nominations for second vice president?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Rashmi.
Rashmi, do you accept the nomination?
Hi, I would respectfully decline. Sorry, Joseph.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for that of second vice president? Okay, nominations for the office of second vice president are now closed. Oh, can you look in the chat, Carly? I just want to make sure no one's excluded from the chat.
I did. That was Eden. Only you guys can vote.
Oh. So only council members can put nominations for our officers. Okay, Nominations for the office of second vice president are now closed. I will now call each, we don't need to call the candidates for any speech because you're the only nominated candidate, but I will do the roll call vote for the election of the position. Joseph Di Benedetto, yes. Anne Marie Knable. Joseph Chow.
Yes.
Wing Yu. Sana Tayeb.
Yes.
Sung Young Lee.
Yes.
Michelle Frederick.
Michelle?
Yes.
Rashmi Krishnaraj.
Yes.
Okay, unanimous vote. Congratulations, Anne Marie Knable. You have been elected to serve as the second vice president. Okay, the next, now we will elect the recording secretary. The recording secretary shall supervise the taking and keeping of attendance, minutes, and the voting record of each member on all resolutions. The secretary shall read each resolution on the agenda of a calendar meeting. The secretary shall, in general, perform such duties as may be assigned by the president or by resolutions duly adopted at any meeting at which a quorum is present. She or he shall assume the duties of president in the temporary absence of the president, first vice president, and second vice president. Do I have any nominations for the position of recording secretary?
Can I nominate Sana?
Okay, so
Yeah, sure.
we have Wing Yu nominating Sana, and we also have, was that you, Shirley?
Shirley.
Yes.
Nominating Sana. Tayeb. Sana, do you accept
I
the
accept.
nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for the role of recording secretary at this time? Can you look at the chat?
Nothing there.
Nothing in there? Okay. Nominations for the office of recording secretary are now closed. Sana, again, as you are the only nominated candidate, there's no need for you to give any statement. I will go through the roll call vote for the election of your position. Joseph Di Benedetto, yes. Anne Marie Knable. Joseph Chow.
Yes.
Wing Yu. Sana Tayeb.
Yes.
Sung Young Lee.
Yes.
Michelle Frederick.
Yes.
Rashmi Krishnaraj.
I think person is connecting to a phone, but I don't know.
Is she not here?
Said she was logging off and she was gonna come back. So I don't know.
Well, we have 7 yes for electing Sana Tayeb as recording secretary. If Rashmi is not able to get on, I'm going to move forward. Okay, congratulations, Sana Tayeb. You have been elected to serve as this council's recording secretary.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, next we are taking up the position of treasurer. The treasurer shall be responsible for working with the administrative assistant to the council and designated Department of Education staff to ensure that business transactions and member reimbursement activities are properly documented and maintained and follow DOE standard operating procedures. Do I have any nominations for the position of treasurer? Wing Yu nominates Sung Young Lee.
I second that nomination.
Okay, do you accept that position, that nomination, Sung Young?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for that of position as treasurer. Nominations for the office of the treasurer are now closed. Did you look in the chat, Carly?
Mhm.
Okay. I will now call, so again, Shirley, there's no need for you to give a speech. You're the only nominated individual. I will go through the roll call vote. Joseph D. Benedetto, yes. Anne Marie Knable.
Yes.
Joseph Chow.
Yes.
Wing Yu.
Yes.
Sana Tayeb.
Yes.
Sun Young Lee.
Yes.
Michelle Frederick.
Yes.
And Rashmi Krishnaraj.
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations, Sun Young Lee. You have been elected to serve as the treasurer for CEC District 25 for 2022-2023 school year. Okay. Now that we have the election of all the officers, we are able to adjourn our annual meeting and move on to our calendar meeting. Thank you, everyone. So Carly, you're going to list the list of newly elected officers to the
To face and to
the
everybody
face,
and the
correct,
community.
right?
Mhm.
Perfect. Okay. So thank you everyone for your patience. And we will now move on to our calendar meeting. We need to go through the roll call once again. Carly, are you able to do that, or do you want me to do it?
I got it.
Okay,
All right, ready?
Yep.
Joseph D. Benedetto,
present.
Wing Yu, Anne Marie Knable, Joseph Chow,
Present.
Rashmi Krishnaraj,
Here.
Michelle Frederick,
Present.
and Sana Tayeb.
Present.
So we have 8 members present this evening, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so welcome everyone to the calendar meeting. Is Senator, our elected officials here? Is Senator Luce here? I don't see Senator Luce. He's supposed to be, he's on our agenda. I think he's supposed to come at 8 o'clock.
But
I see Shane Miller here. Shane? Shane Miller's from Councilmember Zong's office.
I'm here.
Welcome to our meeting.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, my video is not starting for some reason.
It's okay.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for having me. The only thing I would, first off, thanks to everybody on the council for all your service, and congratulations to the officers. The only thing I would call to your attention is the councilwoman is co-hosting a hiring event with the USTA to help Flushing residents get seasonal jobs at the US Open. So I'll post all of that stuff in the chat. So it's going to actually be in downtown Flushing, so people won't have to travel to the US Open. And so I'll post everything in there, and I thought I'd bring it up here because maybe there's some high school seniors who 2 weeks at the end of the summer need a seasonal job. So I'll post everything in there. Other than that, have a great summer.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Yes, so if you don't mind posting that in the chat, it is an interesting position, and I wish I was back in school that I could take it. Okay, thank you, and our regards to Councilmember. Are there any other elected officials here this evening? Okay, I know Senator Liu wanted to come and discuss class size reduction and mayoral control. I had told them that we were going to do our annual meeting, and I believe he will be here by 8 p.m. So before we meet with Senator Liu, I want to take the pleasure of reintroducing our superintendent, who was recently announced with her position by Chancellor Banks, and we congratulate you, Danielle DeMango, and we look forward to working with you once again. I'm going to let you give now your superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you, President Di Benedetto, and I congratulate all of the officers that were elected here tonight. And I want to thank you for your well wishes. For the past 11 years, I've had the humbling experience to lead as superintendent of District 25 school community. Together, we have created and fostered and implemented our Strong Roots, Strong Schools vision. From many roots, growing together as one community, which celebrates diversity, access, and empowering our learners. I was very excited last week to be selected by Chancellor Banks and be able to continue my role as superintendent of District 25. And I'm looking forward to continuing to partner with our CEC and our community members and our local elected officials as we work together with our school leaders, teachers, and support staff in service of our students and families. Together, we have celebrated, supported, and built some of the most amazing schools in New York City, and I'm excited to continue on this journey with the District 25 community. It really does hold a special place in my heart. I feel like I was raised here because I grew up here. I started teaching here when I was 21, and now I'm 50, so although I'm not excited to be 50, I am excited to continue to lead as the district superintendent. So a core value in my leadership has always been collaboration and access, and that will continue. This guides my relationship with our community. So I do want to reshare our contact information with the community so you know how to reach us. So anyone from the public can contact District 25 office at any time by phone or text message at 347-850-3048. That's 347-850-3048. Or by email at contact@d25.nyc. You can find us on social media at NYC Schools D25 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The District 25 website, which is www.d25.nyc, is home to everything you need from our district, including a list of all of our schools and current school leaders and public meeting dates, times, and locations for our district leadership team, our community education council, and our president's council meetings. I am also going to spend much of our summer, as well as the month of September, engaging in a listening and learning tour with all of our school community members, which includes our CEC, our president's council, our local PTAs, our local elected officials, our principals, assistant principals, students, just listening and learning to what we do well as a district and what are some of the things that you would like to see us do better. And I'm really happy to have the opportunity to engage in the listening learning tour. So more to come with that schedule. So I would like to announce some of our retirements. We have many retirements this year, and I want to wish all of our amazing leaders well. We're sorry to see them go. They have been a huge part of making District 25 the community that it is. And as I say, no one ever really leaves the District 25 family. So, but I do want to announce our retirements are Diane Tratner from PS 193, Victoria Rice from PS 20, Mary Ellen Byrne from IS 25, Lisa Liato from PSIS 164, and Michelle Contratti from PS 130. And I do want to give a big thank you to Miss Liato, because although she is retiring very soon, she has still agreed to run one of our summer rising sites. So a big thank you to her. The Chancellor has approved some interim acting principals at 2 of these schools. More hopefully will be announced at our August meeting, but I would like to welcome Danielle Zabrowski from PS 193. She is currently the assistant principal there, and she happily has taken on this role, and we're really excited to welcome and work with Ms. Zabrowski, and Elisa Barisi, who will be the interim acting principal of PS 20. And I am really excited. She was an assistant principal in District 30, and we're really excited to work with her and show her what District 25 is all about. So welcome, Ms. Barisi. Enrollment, things happening in enrollment, G&T results. I know a lot of parents have been asking, including any offers will be available before the end of July. Some parents have also been asking about wait lists. The following wait lists are still open for 3K, pre-K, kindergarten, middle school, and high school. If parents have any questions about any of the wait lists, you can call the school directly to inquire. Waitlist offers are made based on seat availability until waitlists close. If a school makes you a waitlist offer, the school will contact you directly. Summarizing, yesterday was the first day of summarizing at our 11 sites, PS 20, PS 22, PS 129, junior high school 237, junior high school 185, PSMS 200, PS 165, IS 250, PS 107, PS 193, and PS 24. My office has visited every single site. By the end of the week, I will be at every single site. And I just want to say thank you to all of our principals, assistant principals, teachers and staff members and support staff who have really worked tirelessly to make sure that we have the best summarizing experience we can. It is really not an easy job. All of our building leaders were closing out the school year, preparing for their next school year, and at the same time, really working very hard to work with our CBO partners to program our summarizing. So we are really excited that we have all of these sites. They are all filled and there are amazing things happening there. So we're very excited about summarizing in District 25. Free summer meals started on June 28th. This is available throughout New York City in some public schools and in other community-based organizations to anyone 18 years old and under. You can visit schools.nyc.gov/summer meals for more information and for a complete list of summer meal locations. Service times at designated public schools is breakfast from 8 a.m. to 9:15 a.m. and lunch from 11 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. The school locations in District 25 are at PS 20, IS 237, IS 250, and Junior High School 185. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Domingo. We work with, again, congratulations to you and congratulations to those principals that are retiring. We are not happy to see you go, but we wish you the best because you made our district one of the best. So thank you. Okay, so I'm not sure if Senator Lou is here. It's 7:45. You let me know. Oh, he's coming in person. That's right. Okay. So we will continue on until he gets here. We really need to discuss our meeting dates. Typically, the CEC meets the first Wednesday of every month. We have in our folders, and Carly, if you could put on the screen, the anticipated meeting dates. So we should go through the list to see if there's any conflicts with any holiday or parent-teacher conference, then we can entertain motions to reset the date. Take your time. So our bylaws call that our meetings take place on the first Wednesday of every month.
I went by what we did last year.
Okay.
And also, I'm not going to be here the first Wednesday. I'm on this medication time.
So we'll have to talk about that. Also, when's the first day of school? First day of school, September 8th, correct? So that might also be, the night before the first day of school. That's why we may have changed. We'll talk about it. Let's get the list up there, Carly.
I'm getting there.
Okay. So I'm gonna just put September 7th and then we'll talk about it. So those who have folders here, unless you don't have them at home, but there is, in your folder, there's the school calendar attached to it. You see it, Wendy? Okay, and yeah.
Juliana's gonna share that one because it's not opening on my end.
Okay, Juliana, are you able to share the meeting dates?
Yes, I just need a second. Seems to be an issue.
Yeah, it's not opening for some reason.
Okay, while we do that, we have a couple of other things we would need to discuss. There are some changes to the open meetings law, so we need to discuss whether or not we want to continue to move forward as a hybrid meeting. We have a resolution that was prepared by Wing U, which we will take that up for a vote on. I believe there might be a resolution here regarding the hybrid meetings as well. And of course, once Senator Lewis gets here, we will talk with our senator. But let's first get the meeting dates on our calendar.
I mean, you could verbally go through
Hey
it.
guys, can you hear me? This is Rashmi.
Hi, Rashmi. Yes.
Hey, yeah, before I get disconnected, just wanted to understand, shouldn't we elect for the vacant seat that we have been doing for last few months before we start with the agenda and setting up the dates forward?
So are you making a motion we had two candidates that had applied for the position. Eden Rubenstein, I believe Eden's here, and Crystal Gonzalez. We had taken up the vote in the past. We were not able to get a quorum. Are you making a motion, Rashmi, to elect one of the two candidates to the position?
I'm making a suggestion for us to vote like we did in the past. Like you would call out and say, okay, now there are two seats, exactly what you said, and people will raise their hands, not figuratively, and they will choose the candidate, and then you go from there, whether we have quorum for one candidate or another, just exactly how we did in the past. Nobody made a motion in the past, just go forward with one candidate or the other.
Juliana's here, she can correct me if I'm wrong. Our bylaws provide that if we are going to vote on an open position, we have to do it by motion. Is that correct, Juliana?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion. Carly, you want to make the motion?
Rush me.
Okay, fine. I'll make the motion. That's fine. What do I say? I make the motion to do the election.
So we have
Juliana,
one open position on the council. We should have 11 seats. 2 of them are borough president appointees, which we are still awaiting. We have 8 members and we have 1 open position. We had 2 candidates that were running for the position in the past, and I believe they are still interested. I know them as Eden Rubenstein and Crystal Gonzalez. So the motion would be to vote one of the candidates on to our council. Is that the motion that you're making, Rashmi?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does anyone second that motion?
I second the motion.
Wayne, you second the motion. So why don't we go while we wait for Carly to put or Juliana to put the calendar dates on the screen. Let's vote on the position of the open position for either Eden or Crystal. So what I will do is I will go through the roll call, since Carly's, unless Carly, you can do it?
I'll do it.
Okay, Carly, you can do the roll call.
So I'll just go down the names and you tell me.
Yes,
whether-
what we'll do is, Rushmore made the motion, it was seconded by Wing Yu, you put that in the, on the,
Second.
minutes.
Uh-huh.
And now you will go through the election. So when when Carly calls your name, I would ask that you have the name of the member that you would like to elect onto the council.
Okay. Joseph Di Benedetto,
Crystal Rodriguez. I'm sorry, Crystal Gonzalez.
Wing Yu. Anne-Marie Knable. Joseph Chow,
Eden Rubenstein.
Sung Young Lee,
Eden Rubenstein.
Rashmi Krishnaraj,
Eden Rubenstein.
sorry, Rashmi, and Michelle
You
Frederick.
guys heard me, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Michelle Frederick,
Okay.
and Sana Tayeb.
Eden Rubenstein.
So
you have 3 for Crystal and 2, 3, 4, 5 for Eden.
So once again, correct me if I'm wrong, Juliana, do we need to have quorum for the position, or is it the majority of those present?
It is 6 votes needed for anybody to be elected. You don't quite have that.
Unfortunately, we do not have.
Can I say something, Joe? Can I say
Yes.
something? I mean, as a past president and going forward president, to show the solidarity of the team, even though you personally would choose Crystal just to move this forward, because this looks really bad. We have been stagnant for last 5 or 3 months. So why wouldn't you just say, okay, for the sake of showing majority of the people said Eden, we will do Eden.
Rushka, that can go either way. I am not the only vote that's holding that back. We have.
Right,
3
but you are the
votes.
president. You are the president. So I'm asking our president to help us fill this seat when majority of the people are saying Eden. And yes, and then Crystal would go through the borough presidency. It will just make the matter settle.
Okay, so Crystal, my understanding is that Crystal may have applied for the position of borough president appointee, but was not yet appointed by the borough president. So that.
But that's not fair, right? We can't wait for borough president to appoint for us to think. Like, we have to do independent voting. So it looks very biased when you are saying that we are going to wait to see who borough president is going to appoint.
A council member as you are, Rashmi. So in as much as you want me to change my vote, I could respectfully ask you to change your vote. I'm going with my conscience. I voted for Crystal.
No, I agree with what you're saying, and I totally agree with that, and I respect that, but I am only talking in terms of pure stats. 5 versus 3. So me changing the vote will make it still a stale thing. But I'm not asking Anne-Marie and I'm not asking Michelle, I'm asking you as a president of CEC to move this forward and to show that, okay, this is a team effort, 5 people want it, so I will put my name in the bucket for Eden and let's close this seat because majority of you want thing. That's what I'm asking.
Our council is able to operate. We still have quorum. We're not in a situation where we don't have quorum. I will not be persuaded to change my vote because I am president. The meetings have continued. We are able to conduct our business. We are able to vote on resolutions. So I am not stagnating anything, and I will not go against my conscience at this time. Again, Anne-Marie wants to say something, but before I give the mic to Anne-Marie, I do want to say that our frustration or your frustration should be taken up with our borough president. If our borough president appoints 2 more candidates, then we'll have enough votes to have maybe 6 candidates vote for, 6 council members vote for one of the candidates. But at this time, we do not have a quorum, and I respect you, but I decline any, I am not going to change my vote. Emery?
I just want to say, I think at this point, we're 1 year into this term and we don't have our borough president appointees. I think as a council, we need to be united on that and look to the borough president to make those appointees for us. There are people that have submitted their applications for it. I don't see any reason why we don't have them yet. So I think we need to focus our attention on why those seats are still vacant and not on what we're doing here amongst ourselves. We have a decision here. So I think we need to turn our attention to the borough president's positions and maybe write a resolution for that or a letter or something that addresses that.
And our bylaws call that to vote on the candidate, we need to have a quorum. Correct me if I'm wrong again, Juliana?
What do you mean about quorum?
To vote for the candidate, we need to have 6 members vote for one particular candidate.
That's correct. That's
That's
correct.
Council.
That's right.
Okay. So,
may I say something?
Mr. Chow, go ahead.
All right. So it's important that all the parents are well represented. At the last 3 meetings, when we voted, you stated, Joe, you stated clearly both candidates are fully qualified. All right. So I would think it's important that we have the other vote because more parents will be represented. Right now we have 8 votes. Having the additional votes is very important. So from a logical point of view, right now the vote is 5-3. So from a logical point of view, either 3 of us are convinced to vote a different way, or one of you should be convinced to vote either way. It's important that we have the additional member because more parents will be represented. If you truly feel that one of them is better qualified than the other, I can understand what you're saying. But if you feel deep down in your heart they're both qualified, then I don't see why one of you shouldn't change your vote. Because this way we can have the additional member.
Are you saying Mr. Chow, that you're willing to change your vote?
Of course.
Okay.
If you can convince 2, there are 5-3. If you're convinced 2 other members who are voting for Eden to vote for Crystal, I'll change my vote. Like I changed my vote for you. Because if I want to be a jerk and not vote for you, then you wouldn't be president for a number of meetings. That's not constructive. We're a team. Like before, even before.
So, Mr.
Right?
Chow,
Just today.
Can I say something?
Making a vote. You vote. We're all equal council members here. We have to respect everyone's vote. If you want, I will go through the roll call and we'll take the vote once again. What you're asking me to do, I could turn around and ask you to do the same thing. Correct?
Wait, Joe, I hate to interrupt you. I don't have a problem voting the other way.
Okay.
I don't. If you convince 2 other people to vote, change their vote, who voted for Eden, I'll vote for you. I mean, I'll vote with you. I don't have an issue. This is a team. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about our collective effort to help the children. We're here to represent the parents. The more, the additional member will just help.
Okay, I see Michelle Frederick raised her hand. Michelle?
I don't have anything long to say, but I just want to say that this is very disturbing to for other council members to persuade other council members to change their votes based off of, let's just if this is what's going to get us where we have to get, okay. But what about our personal opinions? I mean, I don't want to be persuaded and bullied into changing my vote because this is what you guys want. This doesn't make any sense. I don't think council members should be persuading other council members to go which way that they feel like going. I don't think this should be like an argument. It sounds very, very disturbing. And I just kind of don't want to be a part of it. I'm still going to stand where I stand. My vote is for Crystal, and that's it.
Understood. So now I know there are members of the public that want to speak up, but this is not the public speaking time, so I'm not going to allow it at this time. I'm going to just keep it exclusively to the council members. Wing, I think you wanted to make a comment?
So I agree with everyone that we should all respect each other's vote, and our personal opinions does matter when it comes to these votes. And I don't want to change anyone's votes, but I just want to say that Eden has showed up every meeting, and she has been consistent and persistent in inquiring about this position and asked about, taking up this election, this vote every time at our meeting. So I really commend her for that. And that's why I continuously vote for Eden. And that's all I wanted to say. So I hope the other council member agrees.
Thank you, Wing. I know that Eden is here and she's asking to speak, but like I say, I will give you the floor during the public speaking section. And I respect what you're saying, Wendy, but I also know that Crystal has been inquiring about the position. She's still interested in the position, although she may not be here this evening. She did not indicate to me or anyone else that I'm aware of that she has no intention of taking on the role. So with all due respect to Eden, if you want, I will go through the roll call again, and we'll see if anyone's vote has changed. But I'll do it twice. We've had 2 meetings before. We could not reach a quorum on that, but Rushmi made the motion, and we will entertain that motion, and I'll take the vote one more time. Carly, can you go through the roll call again?
Okay. Joseph D. Benedetto.
Crystal Gonzalez.
Okay. I'm sorry. Wing Yu. Anne Marie Canable.
Crystal Gonzalez.
Joseph Chow.
Eden Rubinstein.
Sung Young Lee.
Eden Rubenstein.
Rashmi Krishnaraj.
Eden Rubenstein.
Okay. And Michelle Frederick.
Crystal Gonzalez.
And Sana Tayeb.
Eden Rubenstein.
Okay.
So once again, we have 5 votes for Eden Rubenstein and 3 votes for Crystal Gonzalez. Unfortunately, at this time, we are not able to elect a position, that open position on our council. Perhaps if we reach out to our borough president, we'll have 2 more seats filled, and then we'll be able to fill the vacancy. I'm going to ask that we move forward with our meeting. I see Senator Lewis here. I want to give him the respect of making his presentation while Carly and Juliana try to bring the meeting dates up for the next discussion. Senator Lou, welcome. Thank you for being here, and I'm going to give you the microphone.
Yeah. Where am I supposed to stand? Well, we have it.
Right there.
Right here. Yeah, so as long as they can.
I hate to be standing right at your back.
It's okay.
I promise I'm not gonna hit you. All right? And I'm not gonna certainly not gonna hit our wonderful, fantabulous superintendent either. Great to see you. Congratulations, Danielle. Congratulations to all of us at CEC 25. And congratulations on your re-election and the election of the officers. Congratulations to everybody. Thank you to the parents who are always very engaged in CEC 25. District 25 is, as I always say, among the best, if not the best. I have an unbiased opinion, given that I grew up in District 25 from kindergarten. But nonetheless, I also really congratulate you for having this meeting. in a hybrid format. As you know, and Joe did ask me to kind of give a quick update on the open meetings law. As you know, for many, many years, decades, in the state of New York, we have had open meeting laws that were meant to promote democracy and transparency. And so government meetings as well, and that includes CEC meetings, it includes community board meetings, does not include, local civic associations and non-governmental organizations, but anything that's related to government was subject to open meetings laws. That is so elected as well as appointed members, including all of our elected members here, can face the public in a very public way, and the public always had access to these meetings. And so that was the rule for many years until we had a global pandemic, at which point, because we had technology available and because we wanted to socially distance and actually not have live meetings with anybody together, certainly with the onstart of COVID, the governor of New York, as well as governors in other states, declared that based on this emergency, the open meetings law requirements will be suspended temporarily to allow for full virtual only meetings. Now, we are thankfully beginning to emerge from the COVID crisis. Things are slowly but surely getting back to normal. And so now the open meetings law is back in effect, which means that elected as well as appointed members of governmental bodies, which CEC 25 is required to hold in-person meetings accessible to the public. There is a virtual option subject to requirements. The requirements are not easy to meet, but that's why I congratulate the board and CEC 25 for putting this together so that parents and public members can participate online, as opposed to having to come down to beautiful Linden Place in the shadow of the Stop and Shop supermarket shopping center and the shadow of the old Flushing Airport. Beautiful place here. I highly recommend coming in person.
That's right.
And we see City Field, and you can actually see the Freedom Tower, the Empire State Building, and those new towers that I will never be able to afford to live in. But so the in-person meetings are now required once again. But to the extent that organizations, bodies such as this can put together their virtual platforms so that the public has the same amount of access, the same ability to participate. The online records, both meetings as well as videos, have to be made available relatively promptly after the meeting, and a number of other requirements. The requirements are not easy to make, and I don't believe every CEC is having hybrid meetings such as this. So I congratulate CEC 25 on pulling it together. We have all seen the incredible amount of participation by parents and people in the public when they have the opportunity to come on virtually. But at the same time, the members have this responsibility to attend in person. In any event, Joe asked me to give an update also on legislation we passed just a couple of weeks ago, actually. Two bills that are of particular interest to people in the school community, which includes everybody here and everybody in the hybrid online meeting. And these two bills are they kind of go hand in hand. One is specific to school governance, which is also known as mayoral control. And the other bill has to do with class size limitations, which begin to limit the size of classes in the city of New York. I'll talk about the first one first because that's been signed into law by Governor Hochul. The mayoral control bill, or the school governance bill, as it may be called, extends mayoral control for 2 years. And that's something that many people wanted because If we had not extended it, we would have reverted the system back to pre-2002 days, where not only were there local school boards elected and had the power to make very consequential decisions, but we also had a school board, central school board in the city of New York, that was appointed by different elected officials, the borough president in conjunction with the mayor. And that board selected who the chancellor was. In the 1990s, there was a huge amount of friction between City Hall and the Board of Education. And so when Michael Bloomberg came in, he was successful in convincing the legislature, which I was not part of at the time, but he convinced the legislature to give the mayor of New York City control over the operation of public schools. And so this system of mayoral control has been in place since 2002. And we extended it for another 2 years. What it does is basically it gives the mayor the unilateral power to hire and fire the school's chancellor. So the school's chancellor works for the mayor. That is where most of that control is derived. In addition to the unilateral hiring and firing of the chancellor, the mayor also has a majority, a clear majority of appointments to the what's called the Panel for Educational Policy, which is just a fancy name for our citywide school board. And so that's how the mayor has control over the schools. And back then, Mayor Bloomberg and now Mayor Adams argued that, look, if you want to hold somebody accountable, if you want mayoral accountability for how our schools are doing, you got to give me the control. And so Mayor Adams made a good argument about that, and the legislature did extend that mayoral control for 2 years. Along with that mayoral control, though, we did hear what throngs of parents have been saying for years now, that they felt left out of the process. They had no way to provide input, not even just during the COVID crisis, but even before that as well. And so we did increase the size of the CEC from 15 to 23 members. The mayor will still have 13 of the appointments, a clear majority, but we're requiring that 4 of the mayor's appointees be parents, public school parents, and that one of those parents has to be a parent of an English language learner or multi-language learner, as they call now. Another parent has to be the parent of a student with disabilities, and yet a third parent has to be the parent of a student in District 75, as distinct from students with disabilities. We also allowed the CEC leadership, all 32 CECs, to now elect not just one member of the PEP, but 5 members, 1 from each of the 5 boroughs. So I think that enhances the parental input. It may fall short of what some parents were calling for, that they should be directly elected by parents as opposed to the CEC presidents. You know, that's something that we'll continue to consider, but that would have been a major change that may have been not as easy to implement right away. And one important change to the PEP is that up until now, the members appointed to the PEP, they could be removed at any time by whoever appointed them, the mayor or the borough presidents. And no reason was necessary. So we've seen that happen when PEP members indicated that they were not going to vote the way that their appointer wanted. They'd be removed, like literally minutes before the PEP meeting, and replaced. I think that makes a mockery of the PEP itself. Why do we even need a PEP if those members are removed at any given point for no reason whatsoever? So we put in, we legislated that these appointments will now be for 1-year terms. So they will go from July to June, and that's August to August. So somewhat consistent with the school year. They could be reappointed by their appointer for as many times as the appointer would like. but they could not be removed during the course of their one-year terms without any reason whatsoever. There has to be a cause for their removal. Otherwise, the default means that they serve for that entire one-year term. And then again, they could be reappointed if they're appointed. So that's what we made. Those are the changes we made in the mayoral control, AKA school governance bill. Governor Hochul did sign that bill last week. It was a very minor change that the legislature agreed to when Governor Hochul requested that we agreed to make that change when we come back in January. And that change was simply to delay the effective date of the increase, the expansion of the PEP to 23 members, delay it from August 15, which the Department of Education successfully argued that they just didn't have enough time to implement that, and to give them until January 15 to implement that. So the legislature agreed to that, and the governor signed the bill, and we will, when we get back to session in Albany in January, we will pass a very quick bill to memorialize that into state law. All right. So I can't tell if there's any questions. I should probably just go right through into the second bill. Should I do that, Joe? Yeah. Okay. So a second bill that we were passed that passed at the same time as the school governance mayoral control bill is a bill that would limit the size of classes in the city of New York. The limitations will be no more than 20 kids in classes from kindergarten to third grade, no more than 23 kids in grades 4 to 8, and no more than 25 kids in high school classes. Now, there are some provisions for exceptions, such as when a school building just simply does not have the size. That school and the Department of Education can put in for an exception. That exception does have to be agreed upon by the DOE as well as the U of T and the CSA, which is the principals union. And if that agreement is there, they can go ahead with that exception to the class limitation rule. If there is no agreement, then it just goes to an arbitrator who will decide on the merits. So that's essentially what the class size limitation bill does. Now, the DOE and the mayor, they hate this bill. They have called it an unfunded mandate. They have said that it will cost from $500 million a year to $1 billion a year more if they are required to reduce classes to those thresholds that we have already legislated. So they've called it an unfunded mandate. I have been very clear in pushing back to say that it is simply disingenuous, if not outright dishonest, for anybody in the city of New York to call this an unfunded mandate, given that we are now sending more foundation aid than ever before, to the tune of $1.6 billion a year more than the state was sending just 2 years ago. So we consciously increased that foundation aid, which is another name for state school funding. In fact, last year I spoke here at CEC 25 very proudly talking about the substantial increase in foundation aid that the city of New York and the rest of the state were getting in the state budget. So it's $1.6 billion a year that's an additional annual amount that gets phased in over 3 years. And so by the coming April 1st, it will be fully phased in. That means $1.6 billion a year more every year for the city of New York's schools, on top of the close to $10 billion that the city already gets from the state budget. So just by my basic understanding of math, 1.6 billion a year seems a lot more than the $500 million to $1 billion cost impact that the chancellor and the mayor have been complaining about. So again, it's not an unfunded mandate. It's a fully
funded mandate. I look back and I say, maybe the mistake that we made was we actually pre-funded the mandate, and then people forgot what that pre-funding was for, and now are saying that this is an unfunded mandate. It is not an unfunded mandate. If anything, it's a pre-funded mandate. And where does this funding mandate come from in the first place? Well, some of you, I know we have some new officers and a lot of young parents out there. Congratulations. I'm no longer a young parent. My son actually just graduated from college. But yeah, he made it. And now he's leaving us. He's moving to the Midwest to start his new job. But that's what happens. So, some of you may recall that there was a court challenge. There was this lawsuit that was initiated by New York City public school parents decades ago. And after years of litigation, the courts of New York State sided with the parents and ruled that the state of New York was not providing a sound basic education to every school kid. And it cited several different reasons why that was the case. Chief among those reasons why New York City school kids were not getting a sound basic education was that the class sizes were excessive. Too many kids in each class, therefore not allowing the teacher to be optimally effective and not allowing every kid to get a decent amount of time and attention from the teachers. So New York City kids were not getting sound basic education because of excessive class sizes. When the courts ruled in favor of the parents in that lawsuit, the state of New York then started to provide what's called foundation aid, public school funding in the state budget. But it never fully funded it for many years until we started doing so 2 years ago with a 3-year phase. Now that we are fully funding foundation aid, which again is meant to provide a sound basic education for every school kid, no school district, including the city of New York, can use the excuse anymore that they have not gotten their full foundation aid. New York City is now, or not right now, but beginning April 1st, 2023, will be getting the full foundation aid. And now the city of New York, like every other school district in the state of New York, has to provide that sound basic education, which cannot be provided so long as excessive class sizes still exist. That's why we're mandating the class size limitations. Where did those numbers come from? The 20, the 23, and the 25 limitation. Did I just, in drawing up the bill, just figured those were nice numbers to have? I didn't come up with the numbers. The numbers came from, guess what? The DOE. The Department of Education came up with those limitations back in 2007 when they were trying to justify or to explain how much more money the city of New York needed from the state budget. And so, the only thing I could say is that we maybe have some short-term memories here. I can't totally blame Mayor Adams and Chancellor Banks because they've been on the job for 6 months. All right, but it is incumbent upon all of us in government to comply with court mandates, right? I believe that as a legislature, that's one of the main things I need to do. If the courts of this state say we need to do something, we need to try to figure out how to comply. We're finally complying, but that means that we also have to make sure that the school districts, including the city of New York, is complying. The mayor and the chancellor may have forgotten what happened in 2006, the court ruling in 2007, when the DOE itself put together that plan for those size limitations. That is why, if they remembered it, we wouldn't have needed my bill. But because people seem to have forgotten it, we now need to mandate it through legislation. So that's skinny on the 2 bills that we passed. I don't want to overstay my welcome.
I think, the chat messages are flashing by too quickly. I think some people had some questions, but should I take them, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to help you out with that, but sure.
Thank you, Senator Wu, and you are always welcome here, and we truly appreciate that you come to our meetings. I know you have, the background here, but we really appreciate what you've done for the state, the city, and our district. And I believe, I haven't read the chat, but my next question, and I'll leave it to the chat, is we are one of the most overcrowded districts in the city.
Yeah.
So the question I have is how much of that money is coming our way? Because our district needs more school space, right? Or something I've always fought for. But I don't want to put you on the spot. If you want to go through,
It's kind of the thing. More
Yeah, I know, it's testing my
same
vision
question.
also.
You know what, while you're
Yeah,
reading
go
that,
ahead.
can I just
Sure.
answer one of those? So, and Joe, the amazing work that the CEC has done with our local elected officials, and we are building schools, right? So I'm happy to know that we're in constant conversation with SEA. Yes, we have a seat need, but the good thing is that SEA recognizes that, and they're working with us continuously. So we have Water's Edge, thanks to you and the support of our CEC. We have the Bill 169, we have PS 32. And so all of those additions that we're creating will help with this. I know that we are and remain overcrowded, but SCA is and continues to work with all of us.
Understood. So the question I have, and then we'll go, Carly, if you could read the question in the comment.
It kind of goes.
That the mandate, the aid, does that also go, is the SCA funding separate from this mandate money?
Yeah, the SCA is getting the
It's
money.
getting, but that's where that money's going to.
Well, it's up to the, go ahead.
The additional $1.6 billion of annual foundation aid, annual school aid in the state budget, we could prescribe it. I mean, if I start prescribing how to split that between capital funding to build schools or operating funds to hire teachers and counselors and principals, they're probably not going to be happy about that either. So it's just a $1.6 billion sum, additional sum, that is supposed to ensure that all New York City school kids get a sound basic education. Now, there is legitimate concern on the part of parents here in District 25, where it is overcrowded. And the question is, where do we get more space? Well, we have to find more space. If we can't, I don't believe that it is right for any child in District 25 to constantly and forever in perpetuity be relegated to overcrowded classrooms. So at some point, we need to have a plan. We need to have a plan to reduce class sizes, especially in overcrowded districts like 25. But we can't say, well, we're worried about where that space is going to come from and therefore not have a plan. There's a 5-year phase-in. 5-year phase-in, 5 years is not a tremendous amount of time, but it's a reasonable period of time. And why right now? 2 reasons. Number one, the state has made good on its foundation aid mandate by the courts. We're fully funding the foundation aid. That's where the city of New York is getting $1.6 billion a year annually from the state. Number two, the reality is that class sizes are down throughout the state, throughout the city of New York. So significantly, not necessarily in 25, but significantly throughout the rest of the city. What better time can you start addressing a long-standing problem such as excessive class sizes than when class sizes, whether we like it or not, are actually down? So this is an opportunity for us to finally start tackling the problem of excessive class sizes that, by the way, again, the courts rule deny kids a sound basic education. I know people want to be in school District 25. I'm proud to have grown up here myself. My son went to District 25 for a period of time, And so we want to make sure that our kids continue to get the best possible. It means that we will have to build more schools in District 25. It means that if 5 years is not enough, then District 25, Danielle, she's going to work with the CEC and the Department of Education and my office, and probably my elected colleagues in this area also, to make sure that you at least have the exemptions in place so that we don't start removing kids or relocating kids when they want to be here. That's not the intent of this. The intent of this is we need to have a plan. No kid should have so many kids in the class that they're not given the full attention by the teachers. And the other thing is, we do need to build more schools in Northeast Queens, 25 and 26. It means that we may have to take a heavier hand when it comes to siting. Some parents, well, probably most of the parents here may not remember, but this building was supposed to be a school. People wanted to make this building right here a new high school. Our high schools are way overcrowded in Northeast Queens. But local residents protested, and that plan had to be scrapped. Tried to build a new high school in Bayside on 32nd Avenue. There was a great space for that. Local residents didn't want a high school in their neighborhood. So we have to confront the reality. Everybody wants more schools, just not on my block, or not even within 10 blocks of my beautiful house. We need to confront that as a public. We need to build more schools. But we can't simply say we don't have more schools right now and therefore never have a plan to start reducing the excessive class sizes. Right now, some of our most wanted high school classes are limited to 35. I was asked by a parent, what do you say to the 36 kid who wants to be in that? I'm sorry. The question to me was, what do you say to the 26th kid who wants to be in that AP class? But they can't because of my bill. Well, I say, what do you say to that kid right now if she's the 36th? Because we can't go beyond 35. What do you say to the 36th student who wants to be in that AP class? The reality is that we should find a way to limit that class to 25, because especially in an AP class, if you can't even get the full attention of the teacher, are you really going to get that 5 and get the 3 or 4 credits in college that you're really looking for? You need to have decent class sizes. And I would say that, at that point, it hastens the ability and the will to create that second class, so that we'll now have capacity for 50 students taking that AP class instead of just the current 35. So let's, we got to have some kind of transition and some kind of plan to get to the point where we comply with the court mandate of providing a sound basic education for every kid. And that means you cannot have excessive class sizes. The state provided the funding. It is now incumbent upon the Department of Education to come up with that plan. And I will be watching it very closely. And guess what? Mayoral control comes up again in 2 years. So this is going to be a factor in how the city is able to comply with court mandates, with state law, and effectively use the money that it was provided for by state budget. I could talk for hours. I don't know if anybody wants me to talk for hours, but this is a very important issue. And this is actually why I ran for office in the first place. In 2018, when I was running for state senate, I promised that we would fully fund that foundation aid, $4 billion a year statewide, $1.6 billion short to the city of New York. That was my top platform. I couldn't get it done in 2019 or even 2020, but got it done in 2021 in terms of the money. But that money was meant to do something. And so now I'm proud to have fulfilled that promise. That bill has not yet been signed by Governor Holcomb. The mayoral control bill was timely. It had to be signed. before the mayoral control expired on June 30th. Governor Hochul and I was in Albany with her. She signed it at about 10 minutes to midnight. And so she had 9 minutes to spare, but I'm glad she did it. The class size limitation bill it's not as nearly as urgent as the mayoral control bill. So she has until the end of the year to sign it. And I have every expectation and confidence that she will. It passed the legislature, which with a much larger margin than the mayoral control bill. It was almost unanimous, 59 to 4 in the state Senate and 147 to 2 in the state assembly. So, the governor has hundreds of bills that she needs to sign between now and the end of the year. And I have no doubt that she will see the wisdom in signing this bill.
Thank you, Senator, and we commend you on your efforts, truly. And I remember that from when you ran for office. But what the senator is telling us as a community is we need to figure out what to do with the space. And I've experienced that myself with the superintendent. I was pushing for the Water's Edge project in Bayside, and we received a lot of opposition from the community. They just didn't want it in their backyard. They referred to children as delinquents. They were saying there's wild animals.
That was an elementary school.
And that's just an elementary school. So I could just imagine the resistance that we have. There are some questions in the chat, but I think you might have answered them. Are you okay?
I can't see all of them.
You answered one about the extra classes and the overcrowded.
We spoke about extra classes in the overcrowded district, and the other one was regarding reducing class size by increasing the number of teachers.
Go
ahead.
You see it?
Yeah, so I think this is part of the plan that Senator Liu was talking about, the implementation plan on behalf of the DOE. And I can say, we've been in discussion around teacher shortage nationwide. I just sent my son to school to be a teacher. I told my daughter to be a teacher. Everybody's gonna be a teacher in my family. So we are, as we speak, working on teacher pipelines, engaging in relationships with our local colleges and universities in the state of New York, and as well as major universities such as Delaware and other universities that have reciprocal New York State licensing. So I think that is something that we have been doing in preparation for the many retirements that we know are going to come in the next few years. So we are working towards that. I know that our principals are very diligent around teacher hiring, teacher training, also with student teachers. We have great relationships with Queens College, so we have really strong pipelines right now.
Yeah, and I can ask something very quick. And if it turns out that we just don't have enough teachers, that's clearly going to be a basis for an exemption. We have a short-term issue right now with hiring teachers, not just teachers, but all public sector employees. So it's not just the Department of Education, all the departments in city and state government, perhaps federal as well, are having a labor shortage. We see the labor shortage in the private sector. So there's some kind of adjustment that the macro economy is going through right now. But that will be over. And then we need to get back to the business of having this plan that's been long delayed. I don't want to delay it any longer. If it has to be delayed or postponed because of circumstances that none of us can control, then we'll do that. But we shouldn't pretend that, this is not a perfect time. We should not say that this is not a perfect time and therefore let's not have it. We should have a plan. We need to deviate from it, so be it. Right now, I don't see 5 years as a short term. It's a pretty long period of time. And every year, thousands and thousands of teachers are recruited. Thousands retire and thousands get recruited. Some teachers, seasoned teachers, are really good and hard to replace. some seasoned teachers, well, I'll say it this way, some new teachers that just got their master's degree and just started teaching, they're pretty damn dynamic also, and they know their stuff. So I don't know that we can really say with a blanket statement that, you know, people with huge amount of experience versus people who are new teachers are necessarily different on average in terms of quality and ability. I think when the Department of Education certifies a teacher, that teacher has gotten a master's degree, has gotten some experience, and we need to leave it up to these teachers.
Excellent. All right, thank you, Senator Liu. Before you leave, I'm not sure if any other of our council members that are here remotely have any questions for you. If they do, this is the time. Okay.
Can you say that Sujin from my office is also on, so she'll take down whatever.
Perfect.
I may have missed.
So if there are any other questions for our senator, Sujin is here, and we will let her know. And again, we thank you for taking the time to be here.
And I thank you all.
Congratulations for your son also. Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure. Nice to see you.
So we are very lucky to have an amazing senator, and he is so hands-on here. So thank you. Be our guest. Yes. Thank you, Senator. Okay, so some things that we really need to think about as a community. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to our agenda. Are we able? Good. We have the meeting dates here on the screen for those that do not have a packet. Let's go through the dates. So our bylaws call that we meet on the first Wednesday of every month. Carly has put the dates up based on our meeting date. I guess you used this year or last year as like a template.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start from the top, and if there's any objection, because we have 12 meetings, right? One each month. So the next scheduled meeting would be for the first Wednesday, which is August 3rd. Does anyone have any objection? Is there any conflict with any school function or holiday to have Wednesday, August 3rd as our next meeting? Are we all in agreement? We can lock that date in. Okay. If anybody has an objection who's not here, please raise your hand. The next meeting for September should have been September 7th. Carly put the 14th. Reason being, September 8th is the first day of school, right? So we would all have to agree not to meet on September 7th and use that September 14th date. Does anyone have any objection to the September 14th date and would rather make it for September 7th? Any objections to September 14th? No hand raised? Okay. The next day will be October 5th. I am told, what I see here, it's schools closed, it's Yom Kippur, it's a holiday. So that date will not work because we should not be meeting on a religious holiday. So the next Wednesday would be the 12th of October. Does that conflict with anybody? Any parent-teacher conference or other holidays or no holidays?
That's the ring bell.
Okay. So are we all in agreement that the October meeting date should be the second Wednesday as October 12th? Any objections to that? Please raise your hand. Okay, so Carly, you'll fix that October date to the 12th. Next is November 9th. November 9th, is that the first Wednesday of November? No, the first Wednesday would be what, the first?
There was
Second.
a reason why we did.
So November 9th is not gonna work.
For the second?
Why?
I don't know. I don't know why I did that. It must have, I don't know. I
Okay.
think last year we didn't have it The first one, so I went by what we had.
No, election day would be the first Tuesday on the first Monday, right? So that would be
There's nothing going on the second,
the 8th, okay. So does anyone have a problem
so put it for the second?
with November
why I did
2nd
that.
as our November meeting date in accordance with our bylaws? If you have a problem, raise your hand. Okay, so our November date will be November 2nd.
Okay.
And then we move on to December. We have December 7th. Any objection to that? Any conflict? Are we all in agreement for December 7th? Again, I'm looking for any hand raising if anyone has any objection to that date. The next one is January 4th. That is my birthday, but I have no objection to showing up. Thank you. It's okay. We stop celebrating after a certain age. So does anyone have any objection for January 4th? Okay, the next month we have February 1st. Any objection to that? So we are okay with February 1st. Moving on to March 1st. Any objections? Okay. April, we're down to April 5th. So Passover is what, the 6th? Does anyone have objection to it meeting on April 5th? Okay, May, we're at May 3rd. No parent contract to teach conferences. That's Thursday, right? Any objection to May 3rd? Carly, you're looking because I can't see anything.
No, there's nothing so
Okay,
far.
then we move to June, June 7th. Is June 1st on a Wednesday?
What, Joe? I'm gonna say.
No. Right. Okay.
The only thing that I wanted to just mention about June 7th is that, I know that the time you like to have your award ceremony, and a lot of schools plan events June 7th because the kids are off.
On June 8th.
Right, they'll do proms, they'll do.
Got it, okay.
Whatever.
So
So you wanna move it?
does anyone have objection on moving our June meeting to the second week of June, which would be
The 14th, right?
the 14th? Is that the first day of region?
So do you wanna move it to the? Yeah, like a
We
Tuesday?
can do a Tuesday or a Thursday. You prefer Tuesday? Does anyone have any objection of making the June meeting on June
June
6th? It's a Tuesday. Are we all in agreement? Okay, so that would be for Tuesday, June 6th. And then the July 5th, that's for the new council, correct? That's for the new council. So that will be the first Wednesday of July. It's the day after 4th of July, which is a legal holiday. Does anyone have objection to having the calendar meeting on and the annual meeting on July 5th? Are going to be on vacation.
Okay,
So do you want to make it the following week,
so it would be July 12th?
the 12th? Does anyone have objection to having the first meeting for the next calendar term on July 12th, Wednesday? Okay. We don't know who's going to be here. Okay, so basically we have our new dates. It's August 3rd, September 14th, October 12th, November 2nd, December 7th, January 4th, February 1st, March 1st, April 5th, May 3rd, June 6th, and July 12th. Okay, are we all in agreement? Does anyone disagree with those dates? We have consensus that that will be our meeting dates for the upcoming months. Perfect. Okay, now moving on to our agenda. We always have busy evenings, sorry. It's 5 to 9. We do have to discuss how we're going to conduct our meetings in the hybrid format, and we have a resolution that that when you has presented to us. So what do you want to start first with? Okay, so let's discuss we'll get to your resolution, but let's discuss the changes, or we have to vote on, we are currently running under a hybrid system, but because of what Senator Liu told us and because of the changes, we need to discuss how we're going to meet in the future, and there are new rules regarding hybrid meetings. I know Juliana had passed out or had emailed the council member some notes on it. Juliana, are you still here?
She's here.
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have any problem just giving us a summary of what we are looking at with the future and hybrid meetings?
Sure. So I think that the biggest difference is that members, well, there's a couple differences. One of those differences is that members who are councils who decide that they would like to be 100% in person do not need to do anything. Councils who decide that they would like to continue hybrid will need to make some adjustments to their bylaws and adopt a resolution and adopt procedures. If you decide to do...
I can't hear you, Juliana.
I think we're having a problem with hearing you, Juliana. I lost you.
Oh,
yes?
Okay. Did you hear anything?
We heard the part about if you're going to appear in person, that the council members don't have to do anything.
Okay, is this any better right here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry about that. So if you are in person, you don't have to worry about anything. So if you decide that you'd like to try the hybrid method, then you will need to adopt some changes to your bylaws, a resolution, and procedures governing how you decide upon when a member can attend remotely. So under the amended open meetings law, the presupposition is that you as council members are attending in person. There are allowances that allow you to attend remotely, but the presupposition is that you're attending in person and that the hybrid model really is for the benefit of the public. It's for the benefit of the public to have access to you virtually. And then the other thing that you'll have to do is you will have to meet quorum in person. You will absolutely definitely have to meet quorum in person. And I'm looking over my notes. If you are somebody who, if you are a council member that's attending remotely, you would absolutely have to be required to have your camera on and be identified. And however, your remote location would not need to be shared. So you don't have to give access to the public at the location that you're virtually dialing in, but you do have to have your camera on and be identified.
Okay, so what I'm understanding is right now, because there's an extension on the exception to the open meeting law for this month, we are operating remotely, but some of us are here in person. We don't
Right.
know that open meeting law extension exception is through July 15th, correct? So we're not sure if it's going to be extended through August and later. Is that correct, Juliana?
That's right.
So what the discussion is now is we need to discuss as a council, once that exception comes out and we must, follow the open meeting law, we then need to be prepared to meet as a hybrid or not, right? But the expectation is that the council members be present in person unless there are extraordinary circumstances, right? Do we define what extraordinary circumstances are, or is that mandated?
You're allowed to adopt additional items. An extraordinary circumstance, according to this section 103 of the open meetings law, says, if you look at the fifth,
Yes, I see.
whereas.
Disability, illness, caregiving responsibility, or any other significant or unexpected factor or event which precludes the member's physical attendance at such meeting. That's what the statute provides, correct?
Yep. Yep,
Okay.
and you're allowed to add to that as a council. This is just sample, this language is a sample resolution.
Understood. So we can start the conversation now. I'm assuming do we need to vote on a resolution this evening, or can we wait till the next meeting?
You can do either. You can absolutely wait until the next meeting. It's going to take you, our legal department at the DOE is reviewing the guidance for adding additions to your bylaws. So we don't have a bylaws template for you quite yet. So there's no harm in waiting.
Okay, so maybe we should just go do a quick run through from our council members of what the intention is, correct? So basically, we as a council get to decide if we're going to meet hybrid or just in person, but hybrid being for the benefit of the public, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then am I okay to go through our roll call to see if the council members want to do hybrid?
Sounds fine.
Okay, and then the next question is what we define extraordinary circumstances as for those council members that cannot be present at our meeting. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so Carly, why don't we go through the roll call and just, at least we can see what the council members want in terms of meeting hybrid or strictly in person.
Ready?
Yeah.
Joseph Di Benedetto.
I will vote for hybrid.
When you?
Can you ask me later?
Okay. Emery Kamibu?
So before I answer, I just want to clarify. So we're just voting on which we would prefer, and then later on, we're going to decide on the details.
So my understanding is when the open meeting law exception is dissolved and we are required to come back, we still have the option of meeting hybrid, meaning in person and remotely, but that hybrid would be for the benefit of the public. So the public does not have to attend. Is that correct, Juliana?
Yeah, I understood, Joe, you just wanting to get a sense of your council's leaning here. The only thing that's going to, the thing that's going to actually make a decision for you as a council is by voting on this resolution.
So I would say hybrid.
The other members that are not here?
Joseph Chow.
Hybrid.
Sung Young Lee.
Hybrid.
Rashmi Krishnaraj. Is Rashmi? Okay, I'll move on. Michelle Frederick.
Hybrid.
And Sana Tayeb.
Hybrid.
Go back to
And when you,
Sunny.
Shirley, everyone so far said
Hybrid. So my understanding is that hybrid meaning the hybrid is for the public and we're still required to come in person. So I just want that.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
So when the
When the
exception
exception
expires on
Correct.
July 15th, right? If it does
Unless
not
Governor Hope will extend
extend
it.
it, then we're all required to be in person. The hybrid is only for the public. And unless a member has a extraordinary circumstance, can they be remote? Correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
That's correct. That's correct.
And even so, the resolution, it's not for voting hybrid for the members, but it's for the public.
So the resolution is for the public. However, the extraordinary circumstance would be for that member that cannot appear. We would have to discuss what the extraordinary circumstance is, vote on it, and put it in the resolution and vote on that. So if we don't make any changes to the extraordinary circumstances, then we leave it according to what the statute provides, and we vote on it as a resolution. That's my understanding. Is that correct, Juliana?
That's correct. You could add to these items, like these extraordinary circumstances are part of section 103 of the Public Officers Law. So they do stand as is, but it is all right for the CEC to add to those.
Okay, so now I understand that if we can bring a resolution for the month of August, because it seems like our council members all prefer to do hybrid meetings. But I just want to get the feeling for next month so we can prepare a resolution. I wanted to see if any of our council members have any other, if they want to state anything on what the extraordinary circumstances are. So, I mean, I see it as either a disability, an illness, a caregiving responsibility, or other significant or unexpected factor. I think we need to define that in our resolution, correct? Julie, I'm just asking for guidance because.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Understand what that means, correct?
You're not required to define that specifically. I think that the statute gives a lot of latitude here, but you can define it if you want to.
Okay. Does anyone on the council have any preference on what we define that as? You want to start, Wendy? What do you want to start?
Well, I think. So I just because I attended that meeting, so what I think the council needs to understand going hybrid, we also, being at home, for the reason that we're excused, if we're home and participating remotely, you must be on camera, you must be present, you must be actively participating. So you couldn't go on and off camera, you couldn't be at work and do the meeting, you have to be at the meeting from home for that to count as your participation. The other piece is if you are excused for those reasons, that doesn't count as the person being hired. We still have to have 6 people in person.
We need to have a quorum present to function. Is that correct?
That is correct.
With 6 people in person, and then we have to decide what are the reasons to be at home and excused.
Would that be considered an absent? Or?
So I think that's something we need to define and put in our bylaws.
It's not considered an absence. You're under this amendment.
Extraordinary circumstance that a person cannot attend, it would not considered an it would not be considered an excusable absence. But you will be permitted to participate from home, including voting, correct? So long as your camera is on.
Yes.
the question is, if the camera is not on, does that automatically disqualify you from that meeting?
Yeah, it automatically makes it an absence.
Okay. If your camera is not on and you're coming on remotely because of an extraordinary circumstance, then, and your camera is not on, it would qualify as an absence,
Yes.
an excusable absence.
It might be an excused, it might be an excused absence, like just like you do now, you would vote on that, whether it's excused or unexcused.
Okay, so we would have to vote on that. It is a little confusing. I think if we put it, I see the resolution here, something that we should read and maybe, you know, take the vote next month or ask for some changes, but something for us to think about, correct? All the members have been given the resolution. It's on the screen here. So why don't we table this for next month, because we do have the exception right now. So it's something that we don't know. It may or may not take effect in August, right? Depending on Governor Hochul's.
That's right, we're not sure.
Okay.
So just also to clarify, so the participation piece for the public is that if we're hybrid, the public can comment and be actively participating in the meeting. If we were fully in person, we can live stream the meeting, but the public would just be watching. Correct?
I don't think we even have to.
We don't have to live stream, but the option is there that we could just live stream and we can just see the meeting. It's still giving them access, but not participation. If they want to participate, they have to come in person if we're fully here.
I don't know if that's
okay. Is that correct, Juliana?
Anne Marie, that's a really good question. Like, are you allowed to? It seems to me, I for some reason I feel stumped, but it seems to me as if it would be completely fine for you to live stream a 100% in-person meeting. The only way for the public to participate would be to be there in person. And the only way for a CEC member to participate would be to be in person.
That's what they said at that meeting.
Yeah, that's what I understood from the meeting. Thank you.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, I'm glad you have clarity there.
A little more clarification, but I think the council members need to read the resolution. Does anyone have objection to voting on this resolution in August? Objections to it? You think we need to have a special meeting? Okay, does anyone, so are you making a motion to have a special meeting?
No, not tonight, motion for a special meeting, not tonight.
Does anyone second the motion to have a special meeting to discuss the hybrid presentation and the resolution?
I second the motion.
So when you second the motion made by Anne Marie, so are you asking for a special meeting, but we don't know what the date is yet, correct? Okay, so can we table that?
I'll send an email.
Carly will send an email, then we'll go through what we need to go through to have a special meeting. We'll have to notify the public, and then we can have a special meeting for that. I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Anne Marie. Okay, so moving on, I want to give the microphone to Wing Yu, who has presented us with the resolution, and you can give a little bit more statement to the public about it, Wing.
Good evening. So we've been pressured to have a resolution on hate crime. And I did prepare a resolution, and the title is Resolution to Prevent Racism, Hate Crimes, and Aggressions in School. Should I read it?
Yeah, I think you can read it. I mean, I know that our bylaws had, the recording secretary would read the resolution once it's enacted, but as the chair of your subcommittee, you are authorized to read it to the public.
Okay.
put a statement on it and we can see it.
Okay, so, I'll start. Whereas racist rhetoric and racial hate crimes have been prevalent and have significantly increased against all minorities across New York City since the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the Asian American, South Asian American, African American, Hispanic, Jewish, and Islamic communities have experienced numerous incidents of derogatory epithets, discrimination, racial shunning, and aggression, as well as violent physical attacks. And whereas District 25 schools are home to over 37,000 students, with 48% of the students of Asian or Pacific Islander heritage, 29% Hispanic, 11% Caucasian, 7% African American, and the remaining 5% of other ethnicities. And whereas District 25 schools are committed to providing a safe, supportive, inclusive, and respectful learning environment, and value the diverse cultures and heritage of all ethnicities. And whereas District 25 schools are keenly aware of the heightened fear, psychological trauma, anger, anxiety, depression, feelings of societal invisibility and shame experienced by minority students and their families, with the many racially driven hate crimes reported in the news media. And whereas District 25 school understand the role of educational institution having and preventing racism by educating students to value and welcome diversity in ethnicity, cultural differences, socioeconomic backgrounds, and sexual orientation. And whereas District 25 schools recognize and celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month, AAPI Heritage Month, Italian Heritage, Indigenous Peoples Day, Pride and Pride Month. And whereas New York City Mayor Eric Adams, Chancellor David C. Banks, Senator John Liu announced on May 26, 2022, the introduction of Asian American and Pacific Islander curriculum to New York City public schools. Now therefore be it resolved that District 25 Community Education Council, with the superintendent, continues the learning of other cultures, LGBTQ community, and explores the new AAPI curriculum, expanding language programs, increased exposures of different cultures and backgrounds by inviting community leaders or performers to school events, include more books of different cultures and backgrounds in school libraries. And result further that District 25 Community Education Council seeks leadership communication plans with school teachers and staff to eliminate any and all bullying and anti-hate crimes of any kind in schools and social media by having a plan of action, educating all parents to denounce and prevent racist acts and derogatory speech, the harmful effects on children, how and where to report bullying and or racism, and continue to provide a safe learning environment for all children where diverse cultures, backgrounds, sexual orientation, and heritage are welcome and appreciated. So I prepared this in the mind that we did not want to exclude certain cultures or ethnicities. We want to make sure that we have inclusivity. We include all cultures and backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, and sexual orientation. So I hope the other council members agree and pass this resolution.
Thank you, Wayne. So I will now entertain any discussion regarding the resolution. Does any council member appreciate your efforts? You did a great job here. Does any other council members have any comments on the language or on the theories or any discussion regarding this resolution at this time? So, well, let's have some discussion on it. I mean, I don't know, those that are not here, I would appreciate if you have any comments. I just want to make sure that we have all groups are encompassed here. And I know that you added something at the end that we need to add on, right? You said diverse cultures, sexual orientation. That needs to be added on to the last line because you read it that way, and I don't see it in my copy. So, and then I think under the LGBTQ, I think they refer to as plus now, right? I think it's changing, so it's LGBTQ plus community. Under the now therefore be it resolved, first paragraph. You see that, Carly? So where it's highlighted, at the bottom of the page, LGBTQ, it should be plus. And then the very last line, correct me if I'm wrong, Quinn, providing a safe learning environment for all children with diverse cultures, backgrounds, and what did you have, sexual orientation after that, and heritages, or the other way around? Okay, so you want to?
Sexual identity, personal identity.
No, so I think rather than sexual identity, personal identity is more appropriate.
Okay.
So diverse cultures, backgrounds, personal identity, and heritages are welcome and appreciated, correct? You did. So those are my comments. I just want to hear other council members' comments, if any. So correction, I see it's LGBT. I'm sorry, go back to the
Comment.
chat. I think. It's LGBTQI plus, correct?
I.
I believe that's an I.
Thank you.
And I don't think the public can see the resolution. Is it on the screen?
I'm sharing.
I see it. Okay, so let's go to the other council members first. Anybody here who commented? I commented, given comments? Okay. Are there any council members not here that would like to comment on the language? I can't see.
Joe.
Is that you, Sana?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would just like to say, first of all, thank you, Wendy. I know that must have taken some good amount of time. Reading the language of it, I find it inclusive, and I find it sensitive enough of all of our, sentiments as a council. So I think you did a very good job of that. And it's also very, telling of the times and the pressures that we're currently facing as a community. So I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Sana. Any other statements by any council members before we take a vote on passing this resolution? Going once, twice. Do we want to ask the superintendent? Do you have any? Okay.
So I want to echo what Sana said, and Wendy, I do want to thank you for working on this. I know this is something that we've been talking about for a long time, and I like a lot of things about it, and I like the relationship that you're building and your expectations with schools and myself, and just our conversations around the different cultures and communities that exist in District 25, and to make sure that we are really addressing all of the curriculum options that are out there, and that we are having conversations at the school, and that we are ensuring that we are following the guidelines and chances regulations around bullying, harassment. It's something that I've been talking to a lot of parents about, so thank you for that.
Yes, I also share in that. Wayne, you did a great job. I just want to make sure that we are, the language is clear. I don't know if we have to, can we take the vote now? Do we have to correct the language that we corrected? So I see that, I'm just looking at as an attorney, you are as well. I look at every word with precision. So I see in the middle of the first page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th whereas clause, right? You have, it's highlighted diversity and ethnicity, cultural differences, socioeconomic backgrounds, sexual orientation. I think we added personal identity. I would suggest to include that also.
May I say something?
Go ahead, Mr. Chow.
Okay, Wendy, thank you for taking the time to put this together. I just want to go back to the original idea that I had. It was basically turned down because the numbers in the district didn't support it. She came out with this resolution that protects everybody. I don't know if the numbers support it. That's a rhetorical question you don't have to answer. But I don't think the Asian community would feel that they are really protected. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chow, do you have any suggestions on how the Asian community would feel protected?
No, I don't.
Okay. Wayne, do you have any comments or, suggestions?
Chow.
What would you like to see in this resolution?
Wendy, you did a great job. I just made my comments. I felt that I should say something because the original one was turned down because the numbers didn't support it. That's all. I'll vote yes. Don't worry. I just want to make a comment and express my sentiment.
Thank you.
So for those of the public that were not here, we had Mr. Chow had prepared a resolution to prevent anti-Asian hate crime in our district, and it was brought to a vote, and it was not passed because the council members believed that we should have an all-encompassing resolution that would encompass all of our groups in our community because we are a very diverse community. So this resolution was prepared with a lot of work by Wing, and I again commend you for that. Unfortunately for the Asian community, when the first resolution presented by Mr. Chow was presented, it did not pass in this district, and no disrespect to the Asian American community because they are encompassed in this specific resolution. That resolution did not pass in our district, and at this time, do I have any motions to vote on the resolution prepared by Wing Yu? So Anne Marie makes the motion to vote. I will second that motion. Let's go through the roll call to vote on the passing of the resolution with the corrected comments and language.
Joseph DiBenedetto.
I vote to approve.
Wing Yu. Approve. Anne Marie Knable. Approve. Joseph Chow.
Approve with reservations, but approve.
Sung Young Lee.
Approve.
Rashmi Krishna. Oh, she's not here. Michelle Frederick.
Approve.
And Sana Tayeb.
Approve.
So we have how many votes on approval? We have 7. So the resolution is hereby adopted. What we'll do is we will bring it in its final form. And do we need to sign off on it, Carly?
Need to send it, right?
So we can officialize it or make it official by signing off on it and submitting it to the chancellor. Okay. Correct? Thank you. Congratulations, Wing Yu. Job well done. Okay. Now I'm going to, if there's any other, thank you, Mr. Altman. If there are any other items of business that the council members want to bring up during this calendar meeting, I'll take it up at this time before we move on to our public agenda and our public speaking time. Okay, so is there anyone on the list to speak? I believe, I'm not sure, Eden, if you're still here, and if you, I know you wanted to speak earlier, if you want to speak now, I will give you we have 2 minutes of public speaking time per speaker. I will allow you to start if you're interested, otherwise I'm not sure if there's anyone else on the list.
I am still here, thank you.
Welcome, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I just wanted to speak up. I totally understand how the vote's been going each time. Obviously, I've been here each month following everything. And I understand each person's vote is their vote. But I really think that, as it's been said throughout each meeting, the focus on the borough president appointee needs to be figured out, as it sounds like that's really going to affect this vote between myself and Crystal. And I will say for myself, I'm not able to apply for the borough president position. So I find that that's holding me back, because I would apply if I could, just as Crystal did. And just from the way the discussions have been every month, I feel like it said, oh, well, if we get a borough president appointee, which somebody else is able to apply for, then maybe we can make a decision. And it leaves me feeling very uncomfortable as an individual. And I feel like I need to get that voiced out to the entire council as a whole. So that's why I was asking to speak while the discussion was actually happening, because I have children that go to school in the district, but I don't actually live inside the district. And because of that, I cannot, which I've emailed as well to let you know, Joseph, I cannot apply for the borough president position, and that's why I have not done so. So I don't know that the entire council knows that, and I'm very openly admitting that. I personally cannot go for that position, and in the sense that Crystal has been able to apply for that from what's been said, I feel like I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place, because I truly want this position. I had ran for a position last year. And I'm going to be committed to staying involved regardless of whether I get the position or not. So I do want to just make that known, but I feel like what we need to do at this point is really push and discuss how we get the borough president to get involved and really make a decision at this point, regardless of whether it's Crystal or myself who gets chosen in the position here where you are electing somebody. So I just wanted to make that known to the entire council from my side.
Thank you, Eden.
Thank you.
I agree with you absolutely, and no disrespect to you on the vote, and you are 100% right. Crystal did, I'm told, Crystal did apply for the borough president appointment position, but the borough president has not appointed her or anyone else. And I know there are at least 2 other members in our community who applied for the position. And the problem is we don't make that appointment. The borough president does. And I've reached out, I've asked FACE to reach out. I know that the superintendent has tried. I've spoken to our elected officials. I don't know what it will take for the borough president to appoint any individual, but I do know that he is not obligated to take any of the applicants if he doesn't feel it's necessary, if he's not comfortable with that. So although Crystal may have applied for the position, it's not guaranteed that she will get it. I would like to see both of you on personally, but I don't know. I can't make that decision for the borough president. I'm not sure what that means. It's a little frustrating, and I share in your frustration.
Eden, I just want to say that it's nothing personal to you. I really keep pushing for the borough president position because it makes it easy due to the circumstances of the first voting. I don't feel comfortable changing my vote. just because of the circumstances. So I do stand by Crystal for that reason. And I would like to see you both on. And I think the best solution would be for Crystal to be put into the borough president and you to be elected on after that. And unfortunately, until I see that happen, I won't be changing my vote. But I do hope to see you on this council at some point.
Thank you, Avery. And Avery knows she and I are of the same opinion. As much as I would like to see you come on, I have my reasons for going with my vote for Crystal, and I'm not willing to change that at this time. And I'm sorry, but I hope that it gets resolved. Does any other council member have any comments they'd like to let Eden know out of respect to Eden? Because we do respect that you come to every meeting. Okay, thank you, Eden. Is there anyone else that's on the public speaking list? Okay, so anything in the chat that we need to address?
Nope. Nope. No.
Okay, so at this time, I would ask for any motions to adjourn our calendar meeting, to be followed by a quick break, and then we'll jump into our business meeting if we have any business to attend to. Any motions? So Wing, you made the motion to adjourn, and we seconded the motion. Thank you, everyone. We look forward to seeing you at our next calendar meeting, which will be on August 3rd. I'm told we would rather go without doing any breaks. I'm okay with it. I just have to use the facilities if you don't mind. So we'll take a 1 minute. Okay, thank you everyone for your patience. We're going to start the business meeting, which needs to start with the roll call, please.
Joseph Di Benedetto.
Present.
Wing Yu. Emery Knable. She's here.
Emery's here.
Joseph Chow.
Here.
Sung Young Lee.
Present.
Rashmi Krishnaraj, are you back? Okay. Michelle Frederick. Michelle. I see her, but I don't hear. Sana Tayeb.
Present.
Michelle Frederick, can you hear me? Or maybe she took a break herself. Okay, we'll come back to her.
Okay, so we do have quorum anyway, don't we?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so at this time, we did a lot. We had a very extensive meeting. I hate that these meetings end so late, I'm sorry. But we need to discuss any new business for next month, right? So we're gonna have our next calendar meeting on August 3rd. We are supposed to do district planning. I'm advised that the district office will either Superintendent Domingo or Dr. Dantona will give that presentation. We should have I'm sorry, someone from district planning will be coming, and in any report.
Lichtenstein, I think her name was right, Rebecca, something.
Is that Rebecca Lichtenstein, right? So you'll confirm with Rebecca for our August date. I think we also need to bring, well, the resolution that when you brought was passed, so we just need to bring the final form, and we should work on that resolution regarding hybrid meetings. Does any other council member have anything they want to put on the agenda for next month? Emery, you good? Okay, so if there's no other item of new business or any other comments, then you made the motion to adjourn. I'll second that motion. Emery did, and I will see everyone on August 3rd. Have a safe and pleasant summer, and thank you.
Get on safe. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank you.
night. Bye-bye.
Have a great summer.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, and a meeting.